I'm Alicia Powe in Washington for TVAbraham. Welcome to Inside the Capitol. This week, before the Senate goes into recess, I press key lawmakers on what comes next. What red lines must Tehran accept for any lasting deal? How closely should the U.S. and Israel work together to block Iran from rebuilding its nuclear program, missiles, and terror proxies? And with America shifting under the 2026 National Defense Strategy toward China and homeland defense, how do we reallocate forces without leaving dangerous gaps Iran can exploit or exposing Israel and our Gulf partners?
I think right now, Israel, as I understand it, the Israeli economy is in very poor shape, as you might guess. The article I read today is incredible inflation, shortage of goods, etc. So I think that we have to see it before we decide anything strategically. We have to see how that shakes out. But Iran, if they're going to avoid civil unrest, is going to have to make some concessions. Tell me how far Iran falls. It's quite possible that the Iranian IRGC just totally implodes. Their economy is going down. I'm told unemployment is up by 2 million people. That inflation is rampant. That they're running out of cash reserves to help people. And so I think your question is kind of based upon what happens in the near-term future, and I think we have to wait for that to answer the question.
The U.S. and Israel coordinate long-term to block Iran's nukes, missiles, and proxies.
Well, I think that's what they're doing now. I think that's what President Trump's been working on for the last 2 months.
How do we reallocate without leaving Israel and Gulf partners exposed or in a vacuum?
No, the president's not going to do that. Obviously, he's made that clear. That's why he's been working so hard in the last 60 days, and that's why he's going to continue to drive towards peace.
Well, we have a strategy with Taiwan right now to help make them a porcupine, which would deter China from aggression, as far as trying to take over Taiwan or something like that. And we have to continue that. But I think the resolve that we're showing in Iran will help deter China and make them understand that them trying to go in or blockade or do something with Taiwan is not something that they can or should do.
How do we reallocate without leaving Israel or Gulf partners exposed?
So this is where our allies need to join us and work with us. I believe not only Great Britain, we had the visit, we'll have the visit from the king, but NATO should be working with us, not only on Iran, but on China as well. And so it's not just us shifting, but continuing to work with our allies to make sure that we're covering all the bases that keep us free and safe, keep our citizens free and safe, but our allies need to join with us in that effort.
How should the U.S. and Israel coordinate long-term to block Iran's nukes, missiles, and proxies?
We had them blocked by a diplomatic deal that Donald Trump tore up, and that's going to be viewed in light of history as a real tragedy, because a diplomatic deal that would control Iran's nuclear ambitions is a lot better than sending our sons and daughters to be killed or injured to do it. So I know the president's now trying to return to a diplomatic deal. Years later, I think he realizes he made a mistake by tearing one up. That's the only way to handle this problem. And then on your first question, look, the war was unwise and it's hurting the U.S. People are paying more for gas. Farmers are paying more for fertilizer. Troops have died. The president still hasn't given a real rationale for why we needed to go to war, and we should have learned something from 25 years of war in the Middle East, that it's just not productive. I think that what the polling that I see is just that Americans don't think it's a good idea. And I'm sure people have different reasons for that. In Virginia, we're so connected to the military that everybody, has got a kid in the military or a nephew in the military or a spouse in the military. I think the thing in Virginia that makes it unpopular is people just don't feel like the cause is worth risking our troops' lives for.
I'm not really a pundit. Pundits do punditry, I do public policy. And so and I'm not on the ballot in November. I'm trying to stop an illegal war. That's what my constituents want me to do. I represent the most pro-military state in the United States. Our population of active guard, reserve, DOD civilian, DOD contractor, military family. Everyone in Virginia has a direct family member or close friend who's in the military, a child in the military, a spouse in the military. And if in this pro-military state, my constituents are telling me we should not be in another war in the Middle East, then that is my focus right now. I'm not really thinking about the message of Dems who are running when I'm not for the midterms. I'm trying to stop a war. That's what I'm just laser focused on. We also have had some classified meetings with Brad Cooper in the last couple of days. So we've learned about the CENTCOM, and we've learned some things about what may come next or what are challenges and obstacles right now. But these are all within classified, and I can't talk about it. I would say it's a little more on the current challenges and opportunities. I mean, we definitely, these were helpful briefings in the classified. We did learn a little bit more, but I just can't talk about it.
Well, I think we should destroy Iran's any ability to produce a nuclear weapon or ballistic missiles, have anything that's going to impact Americans.
How do we reallocate without leaving Israel and our Gulf partners exposed?
Well, I think we have the resources, and we're going to have a significant commitment to additional resources for our military.
Want to be held accountable for leaks and possible insider trading coming out of his office, and has said he has no time to think about that. This is serious. American service members have died. Hundreds have been injured. American families are paying more for the price of gasoline and groceries, all because of this war. But a handful of insiders are making out like bandits, and they're doing it based on insider information. And Secretary Hegseth, who has that information, says he doesn't have time to worry about that. In a democracy, we ask the hard questions on behalf of the American people. This is an unpopular war, and it's unpopular because Donald Trump cannot explain why he started it. He cannot explain what his strategy is. He cannot explain what his goals are. He cannot explain how it will end, and he sure as hell cannot explain how it helps one single family here in the United States of America. It is our job in Congress to put those questions to the administration, and that means to the Secretary of Defense. And if it makes him uncomfortable, maybe the right answer is he should put a stop to this war.
The Iran war was a willful act on the part of the president. It wasn't thought out. We're in a worse position today than we were before the war started. Iran government is terrible. The Ayatollahs did kill their own people. North Korea is a bad government. I mean, we can't be getting in forever wars in the Middle East constantly, and that's what Trump is doing.
I do think that if we were to speak with one voice, instead of having Democrats go to places like Spain and then trashing America and American values and the American president, we would be far better off.
How should the U.S. and Israel coordinate long-term to block Iran's nukes, missiles, and proxies?
Well, obviously what we've been doing already, which is intelligence sharing and precision strikes. Anytime one of those shitheads puts their head up, we drop a bomb on it. Anytime we detect Iranian funds that have been sanctioned anywhere in the world, crypto, real estate, illicit weapons, or of course oil, we seize it, we sanction it, and we make sure it doesn't go into the coffers of Iran or their proxy groups.
I'm Alicia Powe in Washington for TVAbraham. Thank you for joining us inside the Capitol.